Most people know that Lewis was an atheist for many years before he became a Christian. What a lot of people don't know is that Lewis did not go immediately from being an atheist to a Christian, like, say, Lee Strobel or Josh McDowell. There was a 1 or 2 year period during which Lewis was a theist, a believer in God, but not yet a Christian, a believer that Jesus was the Son of God. What was holding Lewis back from full faith in Christianity? Well, in Surprised by Joy and in some of his letters, Lewis explains that one of the things holding him back was that Lewis was a fan of The Golden Bough by Sir James Frazer. And according to Frazer, throughout sort of the history of mankind, the sort of different cultures in our world, there is a persistent myth known as the Corn King myth. Wherever you look in the ancient world, you see this story of a god come to earth, sort of become one of us, who lives here, who dies somehow and returns to the gods, and in some way heals something that was broken. Now, these are just myths. They're often very violent myths, but they do have this story at their center. If you're an Egyptian, you call the Corn King Osiris. If you are a Greek, you call him Adonis or Bacchus. If you are Babylonian, you call him Tammuz. If you are Persian, you call him Mithras. If you are a Norseman, you call him Balder. Well, Jesus figured, as did Sir James Frazer, and after him, Joseph Campbell, if you know Joseph Campbell, figured that Jesus was just the Hebrew version of the Corn King. And Lewis said, it's a beautiful myth, but why should I change my life because of some obscure rabbi? It's just, again, the Hebrew version of this persistent myth. Until one night, Lewis took a long night walk with his good friend J.R.R. Tolkien, author of Lord of the Rings and a very strong Catholic. And as they were walking around a place called Addison's Walk at Magdalen College, Oxford, where the two men taught, Tolkien turned to Lewis, Jack was his nickname, and he said, Jack, did you ever wonder maybe the reason that Jesus sounds like a myth is because he's the myth that became fact? When Lewis heard that, it revolutionized his life. He suddenly realized that, wait a minute, if every ancient culture has this story of the Corn King, perhaps the God who created all of us implanted in us that need for God to come to earth, to be with us, to die even, to resurrect. And Lewis started to realize, wait a minute, maybe in all of the myths of the ancient world, Greece, Egypt, wherever, we only got the yearning in its mythic level. But what if, when God came and enacted our salvation, he did it in a way that fit with our yearning? Because unlike Adonis and Osiris, Jesus is a historical figure. He died and rose in historic time under Pontius Pilate. So he maintains the mythic truth, but he also happens to be historically real.